Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Children's Time for this third week of January. Let's, as always, begin with a time for prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Hey Martin, look what I found sitting around the office.
Well, what is that, Webster?
Well, it's show and tell. It's a big fish. This kind of reminds me of the story that we read in church on Sunday about Jonah, who gets told by God, go tell the people of Nineveh to follow me and stop being so selfish. And Jonah says, I don't want to do that. And so what he's really popular for then is as he runs away on a ship and then gets thrown off the ship by the crew, spoiler alert, the fish swallows him up, swims to Nineveh and spits him out into the land where God told him he's supposed to go. And that's what everybody always seems to know about about Jonah, not Noah.
That's what everyone remembers, that Jonah gets swallowed by a fish because he's running away from what God told him to do. But you know what else happens in Jonah?
What's that?
Even after Jonah gets all the way there and tells people what God told him to, he's so mad about it, he has a temper tantrum.
You mean Jonah actually has a throw down, I'm so mad that God cared for these people I don't like that I could die, temper tantrum?
That's exactly what he says. He says, I'm so angry I could die.
Well, I can kind of relate to that to a certain extent, not to die, but there are people I don't like.
Mm-hmm. That's right. God asks Jonah to do something really difficult because Jonah doesn't like the people of Nineveh. They're different than him. He doesn't want to see God care about them and make room for them. So it is hard.
So it's okay then that I don't like them?
Well, it's okay to acknowledge that, but it's not okay to throw a temper tantrum about it.
I guess, yeah.
Or to run away from what God's telling us to do. We all have people we don't like, I imagine.
Such as?
Well, some of you might have people at school you have difficulty getting along with. You might have times where you don't like your siblings very much. I know I had times growing up where it was hard to like my brother.
Well, and then there are those people that I may not even like to sit with them at lunch because they're mean to me, and so I don't feel like being nice to them. You mean even those people that are mean to me, I'm still supposed to try and care for?
That's right. That's what God calls all of us to do, to try and love and care for people even when we don't like them, and even when they may not show love and care to us back.
You know, I can understand why Jonah found it so hard. But then again, unlike the need for the fish with Jesus, what he does show is even the people that didn't like Jesus, Jesus still tried to find a way, not necessarily an easy way, but a way to show them God's love.
That's right. That's what Jesus does for us. He's an example of how we can show God's love even to people we find it really hard to love. And Jonah is a great example of what happens when we get it wrong and run away.
Funny how God can still help us to understand that, though.
Yes. And funny that God can keep finding ways for us to be useful to God even when we make mistakes and even when we get it wrong.
You know, as we start to get back together after all of this time apart with this COVID virus and all of these medicines that are coming out to help us be safe with one another, it might be a good time for people to start to really think about how can I work on loving people and being around people who may scare me because they're different. Or maybe that they are people who don't like me, and are there ways that I can work to help them feel safer with me?
Yeah, there's lots of things we can all work on as we get back to being together in more places and in more ways. We'll have lots of new relationships and lots of new people to work on and to practice learning to love.
So I guess if you don't like it, remember, it's a fish story, and fish smell, it stinks. But God still insists that even if you don't like people, God still demands that we love them.
That's right.
So next week, we're on to the next story with Mrs. Green is going to tell a story for us. And we hope to see you all then as well. In the meantime, you all have a safe week. Keep the world in your prayers. And as we say in church, we use the language to love one another and be the church. Amen.
Amen.